Hello guys, and welcome back to our Unity Learning video series. In this video I am going to try something different. I am going to create a simple level using the set of tools provided by Unity. I came across this idea while playing many different games to try and challenge myself to implement the mechanics that I play in these game levels. For now, I am going to make a prototype level using just the default geometry that is provided by the Unity editor. For an example, the stuff you already get, such as cubes, spheres, and cylinders, etc. And to make it easier for me to traverse around this level, I think it's better to make a playable character before making the level. So let's start making a simple character behavior. And also I thought of making this character in a first person view so that I can focus entirely on creating the level rather than going deep down to the details of the player character, because we cannot see the player character in the first person view. For this project, I will be using Unity version 2019.4.0 F1. So let's make a new project from it. Let's use the 3D template and let's give a name. My editor is having a different layout, so I am going to click here layout and default. Okay, so let's try making a traversable player character. First I am going to create a 3D plane. Okay, let's imagine that this is the entire level of our game. And now let's create a capsule. Right, and we can keep this as a reference to our player object. Let's set the y value to 1 so that the player looks like it's standing on the plane, and we want to make this player walk around on the surface of this plane. Okay, now let's start our work by attaching a character controller to our capsule object. It will define some constraints so that the player object won't fall off the floor or go through walls. So let's select our capsule, and in our inspector we have this add component button. Let's click that, and you can see that there are many options. So let's search for character controller and attach the component. Okay, I'm not going to tweak these values at the moment. Let's just create a script and make this behavior. So I'm going to create a new folder and let's name it scripts. Okay, and inside the folder let's create a C# script, and let's name it player. Now let's open our script in Visual Studio and edit the code. Okay, now my code is open in Visual Studio. First of all, let's add the reference to our character controller in our player script so that we can access it during the gameplay. Let's make a public variable of character controller type and let's name it character. Okay. Okay, so let's save our code and go back to the Unity editor. And let's select our capsule and rename it to player. Now we can drag and drop our script into the player objects inspector. Okay, now all we have to do is we can drag our character controller and drop it into the character field. Right. Okay. To control our player object and access this character controller, we will need some more variables in our script. So let's start with making some variables for the movement of this player object. I will add some floating point variables. Let's name them horizontal speed and another one called vertical speed. Then let's add two more variables, private variables for horizontal input and vertical input. For this character, I will be using the keyboard and mouse input to control within the game world. So Unity provides input methods that can process different user inputs coming from different hardware devices. Let's do a small experiment in another scene to check how we can use the input methods in Unity to read the keyboard inputs. Okay, now we are in a new scene with a cube at the center of the scene. If you check the transform position of this cube, it's on 0 0 0, and also we have a script component attached to this cube. Let's open it in Visual Studio. Unity's scripting API has a method called getAxis where you can read the input values along a given axis. So let's see how it is done. So let's make a vector 3 with the name movement and assign a 0 vector to that variable. To calculate our movement vector, I am going to use the getAxis method inside the update method. Let's see how it is done. For this local variable h, I will be using input dot getAxis and pass the string horizontal to read the horizontal axis input and assign it to the h variable. And for the local variable v, I am going to pass vertical in my getAxis method. Now I am assigning these h and v values into our movement vector. For the x component, I am passing the horizontal value, and for the z component, I am passing the vertical value. And finally, we have to assign this movement vector to our cube's position. I am accessing its transform, and for its position vector, I am assigning my movement vector. Okay, now let's save my script and let's go back to our editor. Okay, now let's check our play mode and give some input from the keyboard. I am pressing the right arrow key and you can see the x is stopping at 1, and when I am pressing the left arrow key, x goes to -1, and when I press the up arrow key or down arrow key, the z value goes to +1 or -1. You can see that the cube is moving within a square shaped area around the 0, 0 or origin point, and the maximum distance the cube can go along each axis is 1 unit. Okay, now we know that we can use the input.getAxis method to read keyboard inputs. Let's go back to our original scene and apply this method to our script. I will use these input variables to read the player's keyboard input and process them inside the update method. Okay, so in the update method, we can assign the player's keyboard input values like this. We can use the method input.getAxis, and we can pass the axis name for this method. Let's pass horizontal. Okay, so now the input along the horizontal axis in the engine will be assigned to the horizontal input variable. Just like this, I am going to take the input of vertical axis into the vertical input variable. Now we can use these horizontal input and vertical input values to move the character controller. We have a move function specially implemented within the character controller class, so we can access it as character.move. So inside this function we can pass a vector3 parameter to move the character controller object towards the direction that vector is representing. Before passing our resultant vector or the vector that is calculated from our input values, let's define a separate variable to keep the resultant vector. Okay, so we can define a vector 3 variable of name movement, and let's assign 0 0 values for this vector as initial values. Let's keep them as floating point values. Okay, now the calculated vector will be assigned to this movement variable. So all we have to do is assign the input values into the x and y parameters of the movement variable. So let's put our horizontal input value to the x component of the movement vector and multiply it by the horizontal speed, and let's do the same thing to the z value and pass the vertical input value scaled with the vertical speed. Now we can pass in the movement vector into the move function. Okay, so the difference of this code uh, with the example that we did before is how we use the movement vector to get an output. Instead of assigning it to the transform, we are passing this vector into the character controls methods. Let's go back to the editor and test our outcome. You can see in the inspector in our player script component, we have the public variables generating fields so that we can change our horizontal speed and vertical speed from the editor. So we can assign values and test our movement. Let's try the value 5 and go to play mode. Okay, that's too fast. So let's go with 1 for both horizontal and vertical speeds. And when I hit play, okay, now you have a decent movement here. Okay, I'll stop my video for now. Let's meet again in another video to improve our movement behavior for this player object, so that we can have a proper first person player view and first person movement for this player object.